Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to Beekeeper Tarot. I hope you're all well. Just want to shout out once again, guys, and I always say this. Thank you for your kindness and for your generosity, for your comments, and for the love you've been showing me. So that is always very much considered, and it stays with me, guys. So that's why I do that blurb at the beginning of every time I do a video. Just a couple of things. Oh yeah, I look like a gelato today, don't I? I've got my look like a gelato. That's okay. Gelato's okay. I want to just talk about a few things today. But first of all, I don't think I've actually shown you my honey. So this is what honey looks like. So hold on, if you can look into there, you can see that. That is real honey. It's a little bit more viscous because it's winter in Sydney right now, but that is real honey. The the stuff that the floaties, that's honeycomb. So what was happening is that on the top of one of my hives, because I did have the two hives, and I'll have two more. I'll have a bountiful of hives again. Um, just adjusting my gelato here. Um, yeah, so the bees, they built that honeycomb under the lid, so they were running out of room. So yeah, so and I just want to say as well, there are there are three people in my life that have an endless supply of honey if they need it. My mum, my good friend Igor, who I love dearly, and Auntie Lena, who I love dearly. So um, it's always lovely when Auntie Lena comes to Sydney, and it's just wonderful when the three of us, with Igor and I, we get together with her. We have a lot of fun, and she makes Sydney a nicer place. So love you, Lena. Love you, Igor. So yeah, so no, just lovely. So anyway, having said that, I wanted to talk today a bit about protesting. Now, I know I've been jabbering on about this, so I'm actually not going to be doing any cards in this reading. So if you want to switch off, feel free. But I want to talk about Mardi Gras, and I'm going to link it into, stay with me because I'm going to link it into the No Kings protest. So just stay with me, guys, okay? So somebody was asking me about the history of Mardi Gras. And all right, so basically Mardi Gras started in Sydney in 1978 as a political rally. Now let's go back to where it all began from. So in New York in the 23rd of June 28th of June 1969, there was one of the gay bars there called the Stonewall Inn, called the Stonewall. And as was customary in those days, the police used to raid those bars, right? They'd get there and I guess they would I better say this, YouTube, entertainment only, allegedly. I wasn't there. I was only two then. But anyway. Yeah, so the Stonewall, so the police went, and the police would regularly raid bars and stuff, I guess all over the country, but they were doing it all over the world. But they were doing it in America, and I assume that they were doing it in Australia, but I don't know if we had any gay and lesbian bars in Australia at that time. I don't think so, but I don't know about that. So I'm going to try and keep this brief. So the police rocked up, right, to do their usual stuff. And for the first time in history, the drag queens and the gay people, everybody that was in there, they rioted for 3 days. Very first time. Usually they would just, kind of cop it, if you pardon the expression, and be quiet about it and let the police do their thing. But this time they said, no, enough is enough. And so what happened was that a couple of days before, so on June the 22nd, Judy Garland died. So Judy Garland was a very famous, so she was like in the Wizard of Oz, right? So for those of you that don't know, she was Dorothy in the Wizard of Oz. So when you hear a lot of expressions from gay people like friends of Dorothy, blah, 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 that's where that starts from, okay? So they're talking about, it's like a homage to Judy Garland. So that's where all the whole Dorothy thing comes from. So in case you don't know, and you don't have to know that, that's why I'm kind of trying to tell you this, right? So, so she died about a week before ish. So all the gay, lesbian, queer people, they're all in the bar, and they're probably thinking, oh, God bless Judy, and they're having a few drinks, and they're feeling like they've lost an icon, lost a mentor, whatever you want to, however you want to refer to Judy as. And then, of all things, the bloody police turn up and start trying to attack them. And I think the what happened with Judy was enough to really um, piss the people off, I guess is the only way you can say it. They were just pissed off, like, not tonight. We're trying to get over Judy's death, and you're coming to attack us tonight. Anyway, they rioted for 3 days. Right? They did a bit of that. Now, that was a significant turning point for gay and lesbian history. Significant. That was the first time that I'll just say queer people, just to so I can yeah, I'll just say queer people if I can say that, but gay people, queer people, whatever. It was the first time that we kind of said, right, enough, 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 enough. And so that was really significant, and that went around the world. The news of that went around the world because up until then, a lot of the gay and lesbian movements were very kind of political in nature. They might have meetings and they were all like trying to get equality through legislation and things like that. And it was just going nowhere. Good old xenophobia, good old homophobia there on display. And it's still around. It's still around. I won't go into that, but it's still there. It's still around. Anyway, so that was 1969. In 1970, which was a year after, there was another parade in New York, right? The parade in the anniversary of the Stonewall riots in 1969. And that ended up morphing into gay pride. So from that little protest, that 3 day protest, it ended up going into gay pride. And that was born out of a place of pain where the gay lesbian people were mourning the death of Judy Garland. So it came from the seed of that protest was a place of pain. Okay, let's come back. Let's come to Australia. So on the 24th of June, 1978, um, there was a gathering of gay and lesbian people in Sydney, and they had a march. I think it was down William Street. It wasn't down the ridge. It was a different route, but that was in celebration of the Stonewall riots. That's the link. Now, in that political protest, people were arrested by the police. Some people were assaulted by the police. I think 2 people were detained. Yeah, 53 people were arrested. People were outed, so they lost their jobs. And that was just disgusting, right? But that's how it was back then. And then in 1979, there was another protest of that in honor of the 1978 one in Sydney. And that grew into Mardi Gras. So basically, got my notes here. So basically, that morphed into Mardi Gras. Oh, and the only thing I want to say about that before I forget is I actually went to the Stonewall in, I was in New York in 2006. And even though there was only a little bit of the bar left, like I wanted to go in there and the whole thing had changed, but there was like a couple of feet, maybe a couple of feet or maybe a couple of meters of what was the original bar. And I sat down there and I had a drink with my housemate. And I thought about that place because it was just something that I wanted to go and see. And even though it had changed completely, there was a piece of it that was left, and I wanted to kind of pay my respect. That might sound stupid, but that's how strong it is for me. Okay, back to Australia. So by the time of the late 80s, um, so Mardi Gras, sorry, by the end of the late 80s, Mardi Gras was becoming more active in Australia, and it had actually changed to by 1993, it was a Mardi Gras in Sydney was the Sydney Gay and Lesbian Mardi Gras was actually the largest outdoor parade in the world. So back in the late 80s as well, so when we were all coming out, um, so Madonna released an album called Like a Prayer, right? And in that album, so when you come on and like that, or you know the album, you know the song, right? You don't need me to destroy the memory of it with my singing, but you know what I'm talking about. And so in her album, she did a big sleeve about AIDS. Because at that time, we were all like, "Oh, gee, what happened to this friend here?" They were all people around us were dying of this disease that we didn't know anything about. So it was a time of expressing ourselves and learning about things, and it was a lot of fun. But there was a lot of pain there because we were dealing with this disease at that same time, which fortunately now seems to be quite manageable. So that's good. But we've all lost friends. Well, every gay and lesbian person I know, and there's others of you out there I know, have lost people to this, and that's sad. And when you had close friendships with some of these people, and you really respected these people, and suddenly they're not around anymore, that was hard. Anyway, so okay, so Mardi Gras the early 90s, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to become involved with this celebration that was born out of a protest because I have experienced homophobia in my life, even up until recently, up until about maybe 2, 3 months ago. And I will deal with it, but I'm still not quite how I'm going to deal with it, but I will deal with it. I promise you that. I won't tolerate it. I've just got to work out how. But I'll deal with it. I'll deal with it. And I have evidence, which nobody knows about. Anyway, um, so what I decided to do is I went into the parade twice. Once when I was younger, and then when I was like I was 50, which was back in 2000. When was I 50? 2017. Is that right? Something like that. Yeah. So anyway, um, but but in the midst of all of that, I did about 20 years of voluntary work for the parade. And I just want to share a couple of stories, and then I'm going to tie it into the No Kings protest. So just stay with me, guys. Stay with me. There's method in my madness, all right? Just listen to the gelato for a few minutes. And so I wanted to talk about a couple of stories, very briefly. So, like I said, I did about 20 years worth of volunteering for the parade. So that I was out in the street. I was either at the beginning of the parade or where it ends at finale. I was along the corridor. I was with floats. I pretty much have done everything that you can do volunteering. And then I became a team leader. So I would just being a team leader was fun because what I used to do is I used to buy these little containers of glitter, right? And I had water for everybody. Well, I didn't need water, but I bought glitter, right? And I would say to my team, like, say if I've got about, I don't know, 8 or 10 people, right? Find someone that you like and just rub glitter all over them. So all my team were that was they were just getting all touchy feeling, looking all fabulous and glittered. It was hilarious. It's really, really funny. But it was good because it was a good way to break the ice. And I'd met them a few times before. And I really, really, really enjoyed taking care of these people. But anyway, that's the last bit of the story. Anyway, so I'm volunteering, right? And and so I'm at the very end. So the first parade, the first people that come through with the dykes on bikes, so they're on their motorbikes and they're swerving around and they're looking all gorgeous and they've got their leather and whatever. Anyway, and so at the finale, which is where the parade ends, there's it's all sectioned off where the like the big trucks parks and where the different floats they've all got their own different allocation of where they have to sit down and park, right? And so what happened was that the girls all came in and they just put their bikes everywhere, right? And I'm there in like my little yellow t-shirt, and it's my job. Oh, there was a few of us there. It's our job to make sure that the girls park their bikes in succession, like they park their bikes next to each other. Anyway, and so what happened was that I thought, oh my God, I've got to like you go, you go, you go, no, I'll go. Anyway, so I went, right? They all, they all chickened out, but I went. And I managed to run into the person that was the leader. So her name was Diesel, as in Diesel Dyke. And I've forgotten her real name, but she was covered in tats and she was the most beautiful person. She was so lovely. But the thing was she had a megaphone. And I said, oh, hi, Diesel. It's Alan. Oh, yeah, how you going, mate? I'm good. I'm good. I said, oh, can I ask you a favor? She goes, yeah, what is it, Al? I said, can you just get the girls to, I just need a bit more room because all the floats are coming in and I need the girls to put their bikes like just in that corner there. And they're all over the place. She goes, yeah, sure, Al, not a problem. And then she gets on the megaphone. Right, you lot. Alan said, you got to park your bikes. Da, 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 da. Anyway, I'm just like dying. And this is a true story. And it's like the movie I don't see movies very often, right? But the movie Mummy, it's like yes, master. And one by one, I watched all these dykes, these girls, whatever. They parked their bikes. It was like it was unbelievable how they did it, and it was perfect. And I'm just watching all these women just and it was just perfect. And then Deals just said to me, "Oh, is it?" So then, so now my jaw has dropped on the floor, right? And and then Diesel said to me, um, "Is that good enough?" And I'm just thinking, I'm lucky to be alive. You know what I mean? Yeah, I'm like, yeah, yeah, yeah. It's good, it's good, it's good. And so then, but she was lovely. She was so lovely, such a lovely person, and all the girls were great. All the girls were great. That's one memory. Another memory is that back in the early 90s, I was I was talking to people on the side of the street because I was marshalling. I was like, with the crowd and stuff. And I remember this one woman came up to me and she goes, "Oh, I think I think my son might be gay, or I think my son might be gay. What should I do?" And I'm like, "Love your son." And I had to explain to her that the only thing that's changed is that he's told her about his sexuality. And I said, I think he actually told her. I said, don't, I said to her, I want you to understand that he's just revealed such a private part of his life to you. He's trying to build a bridge with you. So that's where he's coming from. So be a mum, and it doesn't matter who he loves. As long as he's happy, as long as he's safe, that's all that matters. And I had thousands of conversations like that. Thousands of conversations like that. The last thing I want to talk to you about was when I was a team leader. I was looking after about maybe 10 people when we were all covered in glitter and everything else. And I was just making sure that everybody was okay and I was doing my thing and I was touching base with everybody all the time. And I built up quite a good rapport with these people. And I enjoyed it because they were younger than I was, or I am, or I was. And for a lot of them, it was their first Mardi Gras, and they were just celebrating and feeling comfortable in their own skin, right? And I loved watching that. Anyway, um, the gelato moves again. So what happened was that word got back to me pretty quickly that one of the girls on my team was being harassed by someone in the crowd, and that got back to me pretty quickly. And I was I went from a zero rage to about 100% rage in about a minute or maybe about 20 seconds. I was fuming. I'm like, how dare this asshole? How dare this person? And this person, she was only young. She might have been maybe 22, 23. And I remember walking up to her because I knew what had gone on, right? And I said to her, hi. I said, who was it? Who was it? Just point him out to me. I'll deal with him. Who was it that said that to you? And she was like quite reluctant to tell me. Sorry, I get a bit emotional. She was quite reluctant to tell me. And anyway, and so eventually, well, soon though, she said, this guy here. And I could see the look on his face. And I thought, him? He goes, okay, so stay there. Officer, my my team leader, my team member here has been saying that this gentleman over here has been harassing her. Can you remove him, please? I don't, of course, of course. And then the cops removed him, and he was like, "Oh no!" And I thought, "Get out, go, get out. You are not welcome here." And so he left, and I'll never forget the look on her face. So she was very touched that, and I kind of thought, maybe sometimes we need a bigger brother to look after us. So that's my story about Mardi Gras. So what I'm saying to you is that with the No Kings rallies, and this is where I'm going to bring it back in. Like right now, we are worldwide. We're in a place of pain with what's going on, and I'm just going to blow my nose. Give me 2 seconds, guys. If I can find pause, it's better. Yeah, so we're kind of in a place of pain right now because of what's going on. In the same way that the gay and lesbian community are in pain. Well, it's maybe not a great parallel, but I hope you understand what I'm trying to say. Pardon me for burping on your face. I've just had some water, so that was a bit rude. I do apologize, but anyway, it is what it is. So just as the police, they were originally they were bashing people or assaulting people. Once more, YouTube entertainment only. In Stonewall in 1969, in Sydney in 1978. It's actually a member of the police that helped me out the greatest bit by getting rid of this asshole, just getting rid of him. And I never saw this young lady again. But I hope that that was a turning point for her, and I hope that it changed. Not that I hope. Well, I hope that it sent her a message that she's okay, and it's important to be who you are. So going back to the No Kings rally, just keep going, guys. So when I bang on about protesting and everything else, and there's a lot more I could say, which I won't, because I don't want to take up too much of your time. But just don't give in to the fear, guys. Take it day by day. Um, just keep going. We're all in this together. Keep going, and we will overcome this mess. We've just got to get through the midterms, and we've just got to keep battling through. So keep protesting, guys. Do it safely. As all the readers have just said, do it safely, guys. So yeah. Anyway, I hope that's okay that I share that with you. I'm about to I'm about to head off. I've got to visit a friend of mine this afternoon. So she's in hospital. So yes, she had her hip done. So I'm going to say hello, Brenda. I'm going to say hello to Brenda. But anyway, guys, thank you so much for listening. I I hope that you can take away the essence of it. Um, just keep going, guys. Be strong. Next protest, No Kings, is July the 4th, Independence Day. And you never know, all these protests and rallies, they might lead to something bigger and brighter and celebratory in the future. You don't know. We're part of a movement, so don't give up. No matter how much crap there is out there, keep going, guys. We're in this together. All right, guys, thank you so much for your time. I'm about to have another cup of tea and head out. All right, guys. Thank you very much. Okay, see ya. I'll be back soon with some cards. Yeah, bye.